Hi, it's Alaska Granny. Have you ever wondered what would it be like to go off and live on a homestead? What would it be like? What would you need to take? Could you bring enough? And how basic would it need to be? Well, I recently read a book that I have in my collection called The Silence of the North. It's written by Olive A. Fredrickson, and it's a true story about her life. She lived in the northwestern area of Canada back in the early 1900s, and this is the true story of her life. And in 1910, when she was about 9 years old, her mother died, and then she was left to pretty much raise herself and help take care of the family. So this documents the struggles of her life starting from such a tender early age. In the early years of her life, she chose to go by her middle name, Alta. So this book is remarkable because it covers the true struggles and hardships and shows you the inner strength and the courage that she had to live as full life as possible and overcome no matter what it was. So when she was about 19 years old, she got married to a man who wanted to go live on a homestead, be a trapper, and they bought a little boat, took off to live in the wilderness for a year. What kind of supplies would you need to go off for a year? And mind you, there was no let's get in the car and drive down the street to the store. There was nothing. Anything they would not be able to provide at their location in the wilderness, they needed to bring with them. Luckily, she gave us a list of what were the supplies they took for their year. So the basic supplies included 400 pounds of flour, 50 pounds of sugar, 200 pounds of potatoes, coal oil, beans, rice, salt pork, oatmeal, baking powder, salt, tea, cornmeal, and then she makes a note, our grub list was complete. Can you imagine that's all you're going to have for a year? So anything else you either need to grow it, forage for it, hunt for it, fish for it out of the water. Anything else you needed, you had to provide for yourself. First of all, I can't even imagine trying to pack and load that amount of stuff. Most of us, when we're going somewhere, we think about what clothes we want, what shampoo and lotions do we want, how many pairs of shoes. We don't think about, I need 400 pounds of flour because when I get somewhere, I need to cook all that for myself. So I thought this was very humbling to really help us realize how spoiled we are. We have so many conveniences only 100 years later. Our lives are completely different from this. This is 100 years ago, she was living this way. And so there she was as a new bride living in the middle of nowhere, having to now take those foods, even when it got to be 50 below, and figure out how to provide a meal for them. So let's not complain anymore about our hardships in life, seriously. The book goes on to tell the story of her life and the many hardships she continued to face, but she always kept a positive attitude. She always kept going, and trust me, there were tragedies in her life that she overcame. All of those have hardships and tragedies that we need to overcome. When you can read how someone has dealt with that and continued to go for it, being joyful in their life, the best they could, accepting what they had, working it out, figuring out what to do next rather than lay around and complain or hope someone else will rescue you or take care of you. And that's one of the reasons that I enjoy reading books like this. That's the kind of courage and fortitude that I hope to have in my own life. I have all kinds of opportunities and belongings that make my life more than comfortable, especially when you compare it to something like this. The takeaway from this book, The Silence of the North by Olive Fredrickson, and let me sum it up what she wrote. Don't waste a single ounce of anything, even if you don't like it. Put it away. It will come in handy when you will like it. And that's something we need to say. I don't need to be so spoiled. I don't need to be so special. I don't need to be so picky. And I don't need to be so demanding. I need to take advantage of every single item that I have, every opportunity, and build the best life I can for myself. So when you get into a funk and you're thinking, oh, this is too hard, that costs too much, I shouldn't have to do it, think about really how blessed we are, and that's something we forget to do, is count our blessings. So if you're looking for a book about courage, fortitude, and the adventure of living in the backwoods, check out this book, The Silence of the North. Let me know if there's a book that you've read that impacted you, that you think would be something we'd like to know about. Read about courageous individuals so that we can try to develop some of that attitude in our own lives. I hope you'll like my video, share my video, and please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.